And unfortunately, there's too many people, whether it's a coaches poll or a AP poll, media poll, whatever it is, that really don't put the effort into stuff. They really don't. They really just look at your brand name, and that's really about it. That's really about it. And not actually putting the effort into, I don't know, trying to figure it out. And it's be educated with their poll, with their vote. So Texas, top 25 AP poll, number 1. Texas, number 1. Same as the coaches poll. Texas, number 1. Penn State, number 2. Penn State, number 2. Here's the thing about Penn State. What have they actually won? What have they actually won? I mean, they don't win conference championships. They haven't been to a national championship. What am I missing here? Like, what am I missing here about Penn State that says? I mean, is this the hype for Drew Aller because of the fact that he's coming back? The hype for Drew Aller, their quarterback, who's good, but hasn't really been consistent over his career. I mean, James Franklin coached teams at Penn State are very good teams. Don't get me wrong. I mean, they're top 10 teams, but number 2, I'm sorry. There's nothing about that says that you've earned that. Now, Ohio State comes in at number 3, which my question on that is, like, well, based on what? They just lost their quarterback, Will Howard, to the NFL. He was drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, Jack Sawyer and some of their top defensive guys. I mean, Lathan Ransom, one of their starting safeties, was a 4th-round pick by the Carolina Panthers. Now, it's also, you can say, well, it's Ohio State. They just reload every year. And to an extent, that's very true. Hey, both their starting running backs are gone as well. One of your top offensive linemen got drafted too. I mean, it's a restock for them, which is what Ohio State generally does. Clemson comes in at number 4, which I think actually feels appropriate. Because here's the difference with Dabo Swinney and Clemson versus pretty much all the other college football programs out there, is that Clemson doesn't really dive into the transfer portal. And up until, honestly, this last offseason, Dabo Swinney said no to any transfers coming in. Plenty of guys transferred out, but he said no to anyone coming in. But this year, he finally realized, you know what, I need to supplement my roster with some transfers. But the core of that team is loaded with a lot of top 25 talent, or at least a lot of, I guess, first-round talent based off NFL draft projections, including potentially the number 1 overall pick and their quarterback, Cade Klubnik. And those guys have all been there for years. I mean, T.J. Parker, their defensive end, is projected to be a top 5 pick. They've probably about 6 or 7 guys that are projected to be first-round picks possibly this upcoming season. And all those guys are built in-house. So the culture's already been set. You don't have to worry about trying to completely incorporate a whole new group of guys into your roster and see how they gel together. See Florida State from last year. And just anticipate things are hopefully going to work out. So I think Clemson right there at number 4 makes sense. But again, Texas was 1. Now they lost their starting quarterback, Quinn Ewers, who went to the NFL draft, was 7th-round pick by the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it's just the Arch Manning hype. Call it what it is. It's the Arch Manning hype. It's what it is. But if you look at ACC teams, Clemson was ranked number 4 in the AP Top 25 poll. Miami comes in at number 10 in the Top 25. SMU comes in at number 16 in the Top 25. Those are the only 3 ACC schools that are ranked. The only 3. The top goes SEC, Big Ten, ACC, SEC, Georgia at number 5. Then Notre Dame comes in at number 6. Oregon 7, Alabama 8, LSU 9, Miami 10. Then you start getting into Michigan at 14, Florida at 15. Again, this is where I say you're voting strictly on name recognition as opposed to what they actually accomplished. That's really about it. Oklahoma comes in at 18. Oklahoma was what, like a 6-6, 7-5 team last year? Make it make sense. Now, there are other ACC schools that, by the way, did receive votes. Louisville received votes. Duke received votes. Florida State received votes. If you go on the also receiving votes or others receiving votes category, Louisville will be about 29th ranked. Right there with Baylor, USC. Actually, I take that back. Georgia Tech as well also got votes as well. So Louisville would have been ranked about 29th. Georgia Tech would have been ranked about 31st. 40th would have been Florida State. 41st would have been, or I'm sorry, 35th would have been Florida State. 36th would have been Duke. So again, 4 ACC schools also receiving votes as well. Here's the thing about preseason AP polls that A, I like, and B, I don't like. The thing I like about them is obviously it's a projection for this upcoming season. So when we see matchups early on in the year, we can say, oh, here's 2 top 10 teams playing each other. Or here's 2, like for example, Clemson has to play LSU to start the year. That's number 4 versus number 9. I like that because it kind of anticipate and build, the spectator, the spectacle of it all. But the one thing that I do not like about the preseason polls is I think it shapes and influences the selection committee when it actually gets to the college football playoff.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if there's a team that is not ranked, maybe is receiving from votes, but is not ranked, like maybe it's a USC or maybe it is a Duke, for example. It feels like even if they win and are successful with their schedule during the course of the year, like for example, Duke has to play Illinois week 2. Illinois is preseason ranked number 12. If Duke, let's say, wins that game at home at Wallace Wade and they continue to build up their schedule and all of a sudden their only loss of the regular season is to Clemson, and they might be competing for an ACC championship game, but the fact that they started outside of the top 25, it feels like, well, it's kind of a fluke. Kind of like what Indiana was last year. That's kind of a fluke. Maybe their schedule wasn't that great. Oh, blah, 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 blah. And it's more of an uphill climb versus, well, Georgia started the year at number 5. If they suffer a couple of losses, well, it's okay. We still think they're really good. It just shapes your perception of a team during the course of the season. That's the one thing I don't like about preseason polls. But I 100% understand why they are there. They're fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to look and see, Clemson 4, LSU 9. What time does that game kick off? Because I'm going to watch it.
People are itching to talk football.
Absolutely. Well, it's not just itching to talk football, but it's just that it builds the anticipation for these games.
Yeah, it gives us something to do till it happens.
It does. It does. But once again, the AP poll, it's just, again, what you think they are going into the season. Who the heck knows what's going to happen? Remember correctly, Florida State was one of the top-ranked teams last season going in. And how'd that work out? It didn't. It didn't.